No fairy tale ending for Jack Crisp and the Pies. A loss to the Cats. Let's talk about it. This video is sponsored by Swish. Swish, if you don't know, is a platform where you can go onto their website, get any of your favorite AFL players, but mainly your favorite Collingwood players, to send you out a shout out. And it could be, for your mum. Mother's Day is coming up, for a friend, for an engagement, a little bit of fun. Follow the link down below for 10% off, or use code SWOOPLUKE for 10% off at checkout. So Swish, thank you so much for sponsoring the channel and sponsoring this review. Now, oh my God, where to start? Where to start? It was just, I don't know. Like, look, okay, let's start with my raw feelings. It sucks. Losing like that sucks. Now I know how every other team felt when we win by under a goal, and we had a chance to win it right at the death, and Jack Crisp misses it. Fairy tale ending. We had a run of whatever 3 goals or something towards the end, but it was just too little, too late. Geelong played the last quarter of their lives pretty much. It was a classic. It was a really, really good match, but during that match, I don't know, like maybe you guys felt it too. I definitely felt it, and I was talking to other people, and they felt it a little bit as well, where I just felt like something was off. It was just, I know aura is a word that's, getting thrown around a lot now. It's the word of the year. But I just felt like, I don't know, were we a bit lethargic? We were just off the pace a little bit. We had just lost a bit of Collingwood's step, Geelong kicked the first couple of goals in the first quarter, then we start coming back. Then we're up by 20 points. And even when we were up by 20 points, usually in the last couple of weeks, we're up by 20 points. And I go, okay, this is good. Like, I feel good. We're going to put a couple more goals on, put, foot to the throat sort of thing. But we just couldn't do it today. Geelong's probably the best team that we've played since the Giants game so far. And now we're sitting 6-2. And I would have taken this at the start of the year. I'm taking it now. We're still top of the ladder. But, Geelong just outplayed us in that last quarter. But again, I still feel like there was just something off about this game. And I can't quite put my finger on what it is that was off, or why I felt off. But I just never felt settled in that game. And it could have just been because of Geelong and how good of a team they are. And clearly they wanted to bounce back against an embarrassing game against Carlton. So they were always going to come out hard. I think I said, 25 plus points. And I kind of felt that, But during the game, it was just one of those games, one of those very frustrating Collingwood games. Now, we haven't seen this Collingwood for most of the year. Like when we played the Giants in opening round, we were just sort of embarrassed all the way through, right? We didn't give ourselves really a sniff. But in this game, there were patches where we played good. And then if you look at the stats before the fourth quarter started, so at 3/4 time, we were in the green for everything. We were controlling the ball, clearances, hitouts, tackles, everything was up. And we should have probably been 30 points up. And one of them is inefficiency in our forward line, right? Going forward, we scored from 22% of our inside 50s. We had 53 inside 50s or something like that. And scored 22% of them. Even the goal conversion was just shocking. Goals that we would have kicked any other day, we're not kicking, and that's been the tale of our year. Like, yes, we've won big games, the last couple of weeks, but we should have been winning, more games, like the Carlton game and the Western Bulldogs game as well. We just got a bit of the yips in front of goal, and it's really costing us. And it's not even just that. This game at times was a repeat of the Giants game, where these guys were not lowering their eyes when they were going inside 450. And fair enough if you got a Dan McStay there, but we didn't, right? Not even Mason Cox was down there most of the time. And they were just blazing away. And De Koning and whoever else they had in their back line, because they all looked the same with their blonde hair and their not bandana, their headband. They all looked the same from up in level 2. But they were just marking the ball like left, right, and Blixarves as well, left, right, and center, just intercept marking. And it was just, again, insanity is when you repeat something over and over and over again and expect a different result. And we just kept doing it. We just never lowered our eyes. We're just blazing away. And they were just getting the intercept mark and then just, going out of their back line, or we were missing tackles, or they were breaking through our tackles, or we were just letting them run. And And I think that was one of the most annoying things is that there were opportunities and there were players free most of the time, but we thought, okay, go top of the goal square, but then no one would compete. There was a couple of times where I noticed, and I don't know if you guys noticed, but I noticed where two players would be, the ball would be coming, and in one player's mind, they're going, okay, X player is going to go for the ball, and then X players are like, okay, Y player is going to go for the ball, and then no one goes for the ball, and then it kind of just drops dead and stops, and then a Geelong player marks it, or I just feel like the the effort was there, but at patches it wasn't. If that makes sense, I don't know. It was just a really weird game for me to read. I just, yeah, it was just a negative. I don't know. I just felt a real negative aura around it. Now after half time, that's when Geelong sort of came out and firing. And what Geelong did well is kind of what the Giants did well in the first game. Is they stopped. They started short kicking it, kick and mark, kick and mark, kick and mark. And when a team goes to kick and mark mode, we lose our run mode, right? Because if they go kick and mark and they're getting deep entries into their forward 50, we've got to go from, a deep entry, a deep forward 50 entry for them. So back deep in our defensive 50 all the way to our forward 50. And we've been thriving on scoring from intercepts and turnovers and stuff. And I don't have the stats in front of me because I couldn't find it, but I don't think our intercept and defense, from the eye test, I couldn't see that we were doing that a lot. But, then you look at the flip side and we had 18 marks inside our forward 50. But we're not winning, It's just a very, very weird game. And I really want to put that to great effort, weird game, let's just move on. One thing I absolutely love though, and this Collingwood team just does it. I remember when Fly started, and it might have been his first ever interview with SEN, and he said, it doesn't matter if we're 50 points down or 30 points up, we will always keep coming, we will always keep fighting. And when Geelong went, whatever it was, close to 20 points up, I was like, okay, there's 3.5 minutes left, she's all over, right? And pretty much it was. And then we just go bang, 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 quick kick, goal, goal, goal. We go, oh shit, this is the goal. Are we going to steal another one? And then Steele gets that quick kick, and then Jack Crisp takes that mark and disregard the kicker after the siren. But that never say die spirit was just something to behold. It was, yes, we lost, and Fly said that in his post match presser where he said, we can lose and still act like winners. And the some people on Twitter and opposition fans, they don't really understand it. They don't get what he's sort of saying. Like, yes, okay, we lost the game, but when everyone got around Jack Crisp, I nearly cried, man. It was. I love this club so much, and the culture that they're building. It does have, and people saying it in my comment section on my Instagram post, it does have 2023 cultural vibe, aura around it, that sort of that culture that we were sort of building in 23, and those close wins and everyone cheering a defensive effort and a goal and all this sort of stuff, and then seeing them all get around him after that miss. It just nearly brought a tear to my eye. It was good to see, and I think we're in. Yes, it was a loss, but yes, it was only lost by 3 points, and we could have cleared them if we had have kicked straight, right? But that's just any team can be like, oh, we would have won if we had kicked straight, yeah, But what can you do? But it was just those little bits. We'll take some learnings out of this, but it was just, when a team goes into kick and mark mode, we need to be better. We need to do better. And we just lost that run, and I heard Mason Cox coming off. Then Dan Houston was off for a little bit. I think he did some of the things with his hammy, but then he jumped back on. But there were a couple of individual performances. Like Darcy Cameron, another, he'll finish top 3 Copa. I wouldn't be surprised if he, was top 2 in the end. Scott Pennebury had a really good game. Josh Daicos had 600 metres gained for 30 disposals. Lockie Schultz had a decent first game back. Didn't kick a goal, kicked 3 behinds, but he had a decent first game back. How many tackles? He had 7 tackles. Ned Long had 9 tackles. I know Nick Daicos kicked a really nice goal, had 28 disposals, 400 metre gains, but he was held. I think Tom Atkins at one point was on him. So they did a pretty good tag on Nick. He wasn't as influential. In the second quarter, he was very influential, but then after half time, Geelong really got on top of us. Now, look, we could have done a lot better, right? We could have won this game if we really wanted to. We were 20 points up, and we only have ourselves to blame in parts for that. But it would be remiss of me to not mention the umpires. And I hate, when I do my reviews, I hate going, oh, it's the umpires. It's like, that's not what this is about, right? It's not what Swoop is about, for the most part. But some of those calls, man, like Bobby's rundown tackle, it starts at his hips, and as he's falling down, with all that power that's lunging, it goes down to his legs, and he gets called a trip. Jamie Elliott's hold. David King came out and said that of the last 18 free kicks, Geelong won 14 of them. So it's just like, when you lose, you look for other excuses. And yes, the umpiring was, at times, was just shocking. It was so freaking annoying. It was frustrating. At times, it was bloody frustrating. And free kicks that weren't there. And, oh my God. Nick Daicos getting held at every contest. Mason Cox getting held at every contest in the forward line. Just very, very frustrating. Then you see Geelong do the same thing, and they get a free kick, and it's just like, fuck, it's just frustrating. But, we were up by 20 points, and what can you do? It is, as much as you want to blame the umpires, and sure they have a say in it, we were up by 20 points. We were misfiring in front of goal. We could have beaten them. At one point, we should have been probably 35 points up at one point. But credit to Geelong, that last quarter, Patrick Dangerfield, I hate him because he's so good. That last quarter, he just grabbed every single. When a mum cat has kittens and she grabs them by the back of their neck and just moves them around to where they want to go. That's literally what Dangerfield done in that last quarter. I don't have his last quarter stats up here, but he said, "Come on, guys, get on my back. We're going. Give me your necks. We're winning this game, and I'm going to help win this game." And they did. And it was in part thanks to Dangerfield. Bailey Smith had nearly 800 metres gained. Then you look at the flip side, and you look at our bottom six. Will Hoskin-Elliott, you can't really do much about that. He came on in the fourth quarter. Bowman Creary had 6 disposals and only 2 tackles. Bobby Hill kicked a goal, but only had 7 disposals. He was well held and 1 tackle. Jordan De Goey, I've talked about this for the last 3 weeks, right? And you know I don't like coming on here and ripping into players. But, again, is he fit to play and fit to perform, or is he just fit to play? Because at the moment, he just looks fit to play. He doesn't look fit to perform. He had 57 metres gained, 9 disposals, 1 disposal in the third quarter, 2 disposals in the fourth quarter. And I was just seeing him get outrun in the one-on-one contest. He was, from what, you look at what Dangerfield did in that last quarter, and Jordan De Goey, he had maybe 2, 3, or 4 one-on-one contests in the goal square, and he was just getting beaten on every single one. It looks like he's lost his power, lost his speed. I don't know. There's just something about it, and I want to see him. I've seen someone in the comments section a couple of weeks ago, last week. Oh, you don't send De Goey into the VFL. You don't. Yeah, you do. Yeah, what do you mean you don't? Of course you do. Get him his confidence back. 30 plus disposals in the VFL. Let him kick 30 and get 3 or something. You and then reward the players. Reward Ed Allen. Reward Lockie Sullivan. Reward Markov. Reward these players who are playing really well on the VFL side. Reward him and send De Goey back into the VFL just to get his confidence up. I'm not as a punishment, but just I'd rather someone who's going to have 15 disposals and give it their all than 9 disposals, 30 fantasy points, one tackle, 1 clearance, and 57 metres gained. I don't know, you can tell that we were missing Jeremy Howe as well. Mason Cox, for the most part, I thought he did okay. And then when he got subbed off as a tactical sub, I thought that we missed him in that forward line. We really needed him in that forward line when we were trying to get it in there in that last quarter. It's just a game of what ifs, and it's frustrating. It's just what if Bobby gets rewarded that rundown tackle? What if we take our opportunities? What if that Lockie Schultz goal that was claimed that it was touched and it was clearly not touched? Get better recording equipment. You're making millions of dollars in profit, and you still got security cameras in as as your VAR or whatever they call it, the R. Come on, man. Like, you know, but on to the next one. On to the next one. Fremantle, 5-day break. Scott Pendlebury had a good game. Steel Sidebottom had an okay game. You know, how many of these, you know, from what I've heard from a really good source is that next week, you know, before this game was played, I heard that next week we were making up to 4 changes, right? And I'll talk about this in the preview video for Fremantle. We were making 4 changes and a few senior players there just to manage them, 5-day break, blah, blah, blah. I think after this loss, we can't afford to do that. Sure, there'll be probably 2 or 3 that take a break. We can't afford to do that. I know that Charlie West is debuting next week, though, which will be absolutely huge. We need a bit of invigoration. But in saying that, you can't go a whole season without losing a game because it'll just paper over the little cracks, right? So this game, it wasn't a humbling. We didn't need to lose this game. I would have loved to win this game, of course. But what a loss does for us now, it lets us go to the tape, or not lets us, but, you know, lets the coaches go to the tape, have a look at what we did wrong, where we gone wrong, and then bang, it doesn't happen again next time, right? After that GWS game, we fully corrected ourselves, and maybe some of the mistakes that we were making in this game, we were making in the other games, but we just couldn't see it or just didn't want to see it because we were up by 40, 50, whatever it was, points in those last few games, and we've won 6 in a row. So sometimes a loss is good. I do next week want to go to Fremantle and bury them so far in their dock that they'll need to call the SES to take their anchor out of the mud. That's what I want to do, out of Optus Stadium. That's what I want to do to Fremantle next week. And they played atrociously against the Saints. They're definitely going to bounce back, especially on their home turf. But I want to see us bury that anchor so deep into Optus Stadium that they can't get it back out. But it's on to the next week. It's a disappointing loss. I thought the fairy tale for Jack Crisp, you know, congratulations, 245 consecutive games, 10 years. I couldn't imagine going to my job, you know, when I worked at a signage place for 10 years, I couldn't imagine going to that every single, you know, day and you know, even if I was sick, no, thank you. So that's a huge achievement. And he's only going to put more games on top of that when he keeps playing, you know. Hope they give him a rest at one point to say, look, just take the week off. Don't train. Just take the week off. Go away with your family to, you know, Gold Coast or something. But yeah, it's disappointing. It's a heartbreaker, especially in the circumstances that we did lose it. Yeah, but look, it is what it is. Fly always talks about the windscreen wiper analogy. You just got to keep going, man. The rain will keep coming, but you just got to keep going. You just got to push through. And we'll be better for this loss. Trust me, we'll be better for this loss. We'll play Geelong later on in the season, in finals or something. Still sitting on top of the ladder. Going to go hard barracking for the Suns this weekend, so we finish on top of the ladder. But let me know your thoughts down below. And until then, like, comment, subscribe, tell your family, tell your friends, tell your pets. And until next time, double shackers. I'll swoop you later.